Video games are pretty cool. Movies are also very cool. So, combining the two has to create something even cooler, right? Well, recent years have shown that video game adaptations can have incredibly engaging stories, worlds, and themes, whether they are sticking to the source material or diverging greatly from it. The Last of Us Season 2 was breaking everyone's hearts all over again and making Neil Druckmann $2 bazillion. Fallout and Arcane are two very recent adaptations that people adored and rated highly. And the Sonic movies are the best thing to happen to Sonic fans in 10 years. Although to be fair, that is not a high bar. But would I shock you if I said that video game movie adaptations haven't always been good? I know, it's almost impossible to make sense of. But it took a long time for us to get consistently good adaptations to the big screen. And that got me thinking. There's been so many bad video game adaptations, and I love bad movies. I can get equally as hyped for what looks to be a bad movie as a good one. Joker 2, I was gleaming when I heard the concept. Borderlands, practically foaming at the mouth. I would have had a heart attack if I was alive around the time The Room was being advertised. So, why not combine this newfound interest with my own adoration of delicious garbage? This way, I can take a look at the history of video game movie adaptations, talking about the creation of the movie and how important the source material was to production. I'm still debating whether to only do movies or do shows as well, because it's a lot more cut and dry when it comes to movies, but with shows, would I count the Ace Attorney anime, the Danganronpa anime? But whatever. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. For now, we'll be focusing on movies, both theatrical and direct-to-DVD or TV. I'll be making these videos in release order, or maybe I'll change it up eventually, but this is the first one, so we'll figure it out. I'm probably grouping franchises together. In the case of really long-running ones, though, I might truncate them to just the worst movies. I have 2 in mind at the moment, but that would be spoiling. So, I welcome you all to the worst video game adaptations ever made. Kicking things off, we have an already excellent entry that I'm sure most of you are at least somewhat familiar with. 1993's Super Mario Bros. But first, let me take you back to the 1990s. Nintendo are currently thriving because of the roaring success of the Nintendo Entertainment System, revitalizing home consoles and making people love video games. And the Game Boy was following suit as a handheld console too, capturing the hearts and minds of children and adults alike. Universal Pictures was working on releasing a movie called The Wizard, about a gaming prodigy.
And who's that? Oh, it's Mr. MVP! Simp!
And they offered Nintendo $100,000 to use their logo, names, and anything related to them in the movie, which Nintendo accepted. After the fact, however, Nintendo thought more about the idea of how their properties can be used in movies, and decided that signing them away for cash wasn't the best idea, instead preferring creative freedom, which is where da movie comes in, baby! Nintendo's director of advertising and public relations, Bill White, became dead serious about the idea of making a movie about the Red Plumber, and after getting permission from Nintendo founder Minoru Arakawa, let the pitches roll in, and promptly ignored all of them. Very Nintendo thing to do, if I'm being honest. This is because they didn't offer Nintendo creative control, instead just throwing money at them in hopes that it works again. Nintendo instead turned to 2 independent filmmakers, Jake Ebbets and Keep Roland Joff, who decided to give the setting of the film more edge, making it more adult so a broader audience can enjoy it without having to have enjoyed the video game. Unfortunate, since they would have missed out on so much of the pre-established Mario lore, like the fact that toads are actually bald and the mushrooms are their hats. You know what else is bald? Their Joff wanted to focus on producing, however, and hired director Greg Beeman, until Nintendo sent their ninjas after Beeman and Joff was forced to hire other directors, choosing husband and wife Rocky Morton and Annabelle Jenkel, who had previously been known for directing music videos. They agreed with the adult direction the film was taking, and said they should make it bizarre and grimy. And yeah, I guess they succeeded because this movie is a fucking trip.
Monkey!
So, Nintendo has the directors and filmmakers now. Huzzah! Surely things will be smooth sailing, now that they just need a script, right? Wait, what do you mean this movie has 9 writers? They had Oscar-winning Barry Morrow, who quit the project after his original idea was deemed too dark. 2 more writers were brought on to write something more light-hearted, and Nintendo approved. But the directors still wanted something darker. Keep in mind, this is the Mario Bros. Movie. The movie based on the game about the Italian plumbers who eat mushrooms and jump on turtles to save princesses. It's not exactly Saw. Although, maybe Jigsaw exists in the Paper Mario 1000-Year Door universe? I mean, that game has a noose in the opening. I wouldn't put it past it to put Mario and Luigi in the public display trap from Saw 3D. That wouldn't end well.
I think we're breaking up with you, Peach.
Anyway, another writer pair was hired and added some science fiction elements. And the script was... decent. To everyone's surprise. Alright, it's getting a lot harder to be excited for this movie, guys. You're not giving me a lot to work with. I don't think young children in 1993 want to go watch Mario and Luigi do drugs and have premarital sex before getting chased by Bowser Voorhees. Or maybe they did, I don't know. I wasn't alive back then. Pokemon wasn't even out yet. Maybe that's what saved kids from their aggressive and violent tendencies. I know Lopunny sure did. What? Don't judge me. After this, though, I shit you not, the directors got bored with the script. The current writers then introduced the Manhattan-esque city inhabited by dinosaurs.
So I just landed in New York City and I'm so excited to get... Whoa! Hey, I'm walking here! I'm really excited to get...
Listen to me.
Forget about it!
And were taken out back and told about the rabbits because the financial backing Mario enthusiasts wanted their movie made already. Finally, Dick Clement and Ian Lefrenay were taken on as the final writing pair. They wrote their first script, and I quote, "Nobody liked it." But their second script was rivaling Citizen Kane, so the actors all immediately dropped their pants and signed onto the movie. Finally, the first hurdle was cleared. The Super Mario Bros. Movie was now in production. The world was saved, and then Obama showed up, and everyone clapped. Absolutely nothing could go wrong now, right? Anyway, the producers were mad the script was too dark and blamed the directors, thinking they had made the wrong choice hiring them. So looked to 2 script doctors to edit what had already been made. The script that all the actors liked. Surely this wouldn't create any sort of conflict, Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo, and Dennis Hopper did not appreciate being handed a different script than what they'd signed on for. Realizing the rising friction, the producers desperately tried to rehire several of the previous writer pairs to salvage the script in any way. And I think we all know how that went. Some of the writers had to act as mediators between the producers, directors, and actors because of how mad at each other they were, and how they wouldn't communicate enough. It's like playing telephone as a future child of divorce. Going between your parents saying, "Mum said, Dad said." The actors wouldn't bother memorizing their lines until action was called because they knew things were just going to change anyway. Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo both hated working on the movie so much that they got absolutely shit-faced while filming. And my god, does it show.
Mamma mia!
Before going into this video, this part I knew about. But the production of this movie is so much worse than I could have predicted. The actors for Spike and Iggy, Richard Edson and Fisher Stevens, just started improvising their lines, completely ignoring the script. The directors were giving two completely different sets of instructions to the cast, and made it incredibly difficult for any work to get done. Allegedly, Rocky Morton poured hot coffee on an extra, saying he wasn't dirty enough. A stuntman caught on fire from a stray spark. John Leguizamo broke Bob Hoskins' finger in a driving stunt because he was hammered, and an electrician nearly died from electrocution. The production ran on for 1.5 times the duration that was intended, at 15 weeks. And the movie was over budget. Everything was in absolute chaos. So much so that the directors, who didn't even want Mario and Luigi in their red and green jumpsuits, were not allowed any input when doing reshoots and completely barred from the editing room. They had basically committed career suicide because of the fucking Italian plumber movie. And yet somehow, 90 minutes of footage was produced. You could call it an abomination, you could call it a miracle. Either way, it exists. The Super Mario Bros. Movie was real, and it's the closest thing humanity will ever experience to finding the One Piece. And how is the movie itself? Well, that's where we're going next. Roll Part 2, CEO of the Future. We open to an establishing subtitle, telling us that we're in Brooklyn, just 65 million years ago. Thank God, maybe I'll actually be able to beat the traffic. Anyway, Tony Soprano, I don't know, I've never watched The Sopranos, gives us some stellar narration about how awesome dinosaurs are.
A long, long time ago, the Earth was ruled by dinosaurs.
And I mean, this movie is spitting. Maybe it's not bad after all. Maybe it's actually a masterpiece.
You know, it just don't get no better than this.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. This movie is peak. Also, for some reason, this opening starts out animated in the style of the old Zelda and Mario cartoons, but then transitions to live action. And apparently the original intent was to make this animated so that would have made this movie a lot better. Less funny though. Anyway, after dropping the hint that dinosaurs have evolved to walk among us, we get our title card. And I know it's because they're plumbers, but the stupid metal font and theming in this movie just looks so dumb. In a charming way, at least. Also, it's kind of funny that both Mario movies heavily focus on the fact that the bros are plumbers, when it's never really brought up in the games, at least to my knowledge. I don't know, maybe Starlo says something about Luigi needing to fix a toilet in Paper Jam Bros. I didn't play past Dream Team. Since this movie is alleged to having normal scenes, we then see a woman leaving Harry Potter's golden egg on the doorstep of a nunnery after putting a cool rock in there. We had placed this in a time capsule, but go off, queen. Anyway, she runs off into the sewers to never be seen again. And the nuns open up the egg to find another egg. Unfortunately, inside of this egg is not another egg, but what the shit? Okay, I guess. This movie doesn't really care about me being able to process this or not, so moves on to us actually meeting the Mario brothers. Now keep in mind, Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo are both drunk as shit, so they're hopefully just having fun. If not, then they might be alcoholics, but I'm just going to ignore that. Anyway, we learn a bit about the two niche and up-and-coming characters Mario and Luigi here, since Luigi believes in conspiracy theories, and Mario is focused on getting those fat stacks, so the princesses will be all over him instead of his landlord, which is what he is currently dealing with. After the most peaceful drive in New York City, I realized that their van doesn't have any doors. I think that's illegal, but I don't know. Maybe Brooklyn is built different. I might be too British for this movie, guys. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, the job that Mario had planned to do to make ends meet has been taken by a rival plumbing company. Wow, I'm so glad to finally see thrilling plumbing drama in my Mario media. The 9 writers really understood their audience. Anyway, the local mob starts harassing these paleontologists because their script was written before Jurassic Park released. And the lead dig site manager reminds me of simpler times when a goon was a henchman.
But we'd be done here a lot sooner if your goons would stop harassing us.
Immediately after this, we're introduced to 2 hot dog enthusiasts savoring the taste of their favorite meat. These are Spike and Iggy, played by Richard Edson and Fisher Stevens. I guess these are technically based on the Spike enemy from Mario Bros. 3 and Iggy Koopa, but let's be real, nothing in this movie is anything like the source material. Honestly, these characters should really just be Wario and Waluigi anyway. I don't know if there's some deep lore that they're actually rival plumbers so they couldn't work as mob grunts, but it just makes more sense for their personalities. Anyway, they identified the dig site lead woman because she has 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head, which definitely distinguishes her from any other woman in Brooklyn. That lady runs into Luigi, and they have a sensual, lingering touch as he passes the payphone to her. So they're basically married already. Luigi, like any young adult man with no social life, is immediately smitten, which I'm sure is going to lead to some incredibly romantic dialogue later that absolutely doesn't rival the Star Wars prequels in terms of being unbearable to witness.
I don't like sand.
Anyway, my prediction immediately comes true, as Luigi does the only source accurate thing to his personality in this movie, and fumbles a bad bitch.
Her name's Daisy, isn't it? I overheard your name was Daisy. You know, I haven't heard that name around here. It's really nice, too. No, I have heard it because it's like the flower and everything.
Who he reveals to be Daisy. In true older brother fashion, Mario plays wingman and convinces Daisy to give Luigi a chance, so they hit the town together in their van, with Iggy and Spike tailing behind. Luigi continues to show off his El Riz.
It's a pleasure to meet me. It's a pleasure to meet you.
But still nails a date because this is a fantasy movie. No, I am not jealous. And we immediately cut to it because, why not, I guess. Iggy and Spike must have been out getting more hot dogs, so they forgot to kidnap the poor girl. My god, that is not nearly enough Parmesan on the plate. Keep fucking grating it! Anyway, Daisy starts talking about digging up bones or something. I'm glad my man Dry Bones at least got some mention in this movie though. After all, the Dry Bones fandom is dying. Repost if you're a true boner. Luigi is baffled at the idea of dinosaurs being in Brooklyn when the meteor hit. His ass has never heard of Pangea. Although to be honest, I had to explain the concept of Pangea to my mom like a month ago. Like, isn't it basic knowledge? I know geography sucks, but even looking on a map, there's points between continents that pretty much fit like a jigsaw. Wait, wasn't this a movie about Mario and Luigi? Anyway, what this scene actually exists to do is tell us that Luigi was raised by Mario and doesn't know his parents. And he connects to Daisy because of this, since she says when she was abandoned the only thing she had was this necklace. Then the two stare at each other for an uncomfortable amount of time. You can really tell that Luigi here is not sober. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that this is actually a double date with Mario's girlfriend Daniela. She sure is a character that has traits. Anyway, they pick up on the very well disguised and romantic tension between Luigi and his favorite online video game, DayZ. Thankfully, they recently watched Superbad, so they understand that friends don't cockblock each other. They guide their cocks, and suggest the two pairs separate. My god, can something happen already? This Mario movie is 1/5 over, and so far it's only been about seeing a child abandoned and birthed from an egg, and then 2 porn parody cosplayers randomly run into this child grown up and take her to dinner. No wonder everyone working on it hated this movie. Anyway, Luigi fails at flirting while Mario finishes laying some pipe with his Daniela. Probably. I mean, that's kind of the implication, but I also don't like the idea that Mario can reproduce.
Mamma mia!
He might have nipples now, but I doubt Nintendo will be confirming if he's packing or not. Thank God. Meanwhile, Spike and Iggy kidnap this random woman. What the fuck? Okay, I guess. Luigi, however, lets his schlong guide him to places he'd never go with a gun. Much like me if I was in the world of Hades or Resident Evil. However, Daisy misinterpreted what type of bone he was talking about, and chose him some boring dinosaur remains. That was mean. I'm sorry, dead dinosaur. I actually considered becoming a paleontologist when I was younger because I thought dinosaurs were cool, and I liked the idea of digging for dinosaur bones. But then I realized that it wouldn't make me seem like Alan Grant. It'd make me seem like Ross Geller. With all this boner talk, Daisy and Luigi almost kiss, but they're interrupted by 2 extras who decided they didn't want to be in this movie anymore, and flooded the set trying to stop the movie from being made. Unfortunately, this did not work, and the Nintendo ninjas found them within 2 days, making sure they never made a mockery of their company again. They're sleeping with the Cheep Cheep now. Upon seeing a leak Luigi's natural plumber instincts kick in. Wait, I forgot that he's drunk, so Daisy has to remind him of said plumber instincts.
Thank God you're here! I mean,
What do you mean?
you're a plumber, right?
Oh, yeah.
Then they get ready for action.
Strap your belt on, kid. We're going in.
Okay, maybe I didn't need to hear Bob Hoskins say that, but just know that it does put several scenarios in my head. Then we get a climactic moment of Mario and Luigi fixing a pipe. This is truly what we've been waiting for after all of this screen time. Immediately after this, like literally within 10 seconds, not Wario and not Waluigi brutally attack the midlife crisis brothers, knocking them out and finally giving us the damsel in distress trope that this franchise was based on. However, the editors of this movie stopped trying, so we immediately cut to Luigi and Wario leaving the room with the pipe in search for Daisy, despite time clearly having passed between these scenes. Yet there is no indicator of this. I'm sure this won't become a recurring theme, however.
Sometimes foreshadowing is relatively obvious.
They hear Daisy's screams, but meet a dead end, and find themselves face to face with some kind of entryway. Luigi reaches and grabs Daisy's Hot Topic necklace and kisses Bob Hoskins' balding head for luck before trying a Dark Souls-ass platforming jump. Then we get the greatest scene of all time. And the movie finally starts. Thank God. The boys find themselves in 1989 Gotham City. Just kidding, of course. If Tim Burton directed this movie, it might actually look good. This place is more like Ohio, filled with nuclear waste, populated by aggressive people of equal levels of insanity, and accidents happening on the daily. While this is happening, we see King Koopa talking about all the bitches he gets. Personally, I don't think he should be worried about all these, because all he has to do is put his super crown on and he'll immediately become a hot girl with an insane body. If anyone knows where I can purchase such crown, please let me know in the comments. For research purposes, of course. This is Dino Hatton. It's like Manhattan, with dinosaurs. However, that probably goes against some kind of law of biology. So is it explained why Dino Hatton exists?
No.
Is it explained why it's called that?
No.
Is it explained how all the people are living here and are all also not dinosaurs? Honestly, nothing is really explained by this movie except like 2 mysteries that it directly talks about and creates itself. But I digress. Not Wario and not Waluigi show up and tell Booster they captured Daisy. But like any boss, he immediately starts complaining at his subordinates. Fortunately for him, Spike and Iggy are not familiar with the Trade Union and Labor Rights Act of 1992, so they don't immediately bust his ass. They realize that the meteorite necklace the boss man wants is with Martin and Linguini, so Koopa calls Agent 47 to perform a hit on 2 innocent plumbers.
We may feel that our lives are not our own.
Just kidding. He does the more logical step of declaring a plumber alert. And the quick movements of all his workers leave me to fill in the blanks and assume that Koopa has had trouble with plumbers before, but all of them have bought the farm by now. Back with Mandy and Lucia, we see more wholesome family game activity, just like my favorite arcade video game, the Mario Brothers. These include prostitution, consumption of exotic species, straight-up daylight robbery, multiple accounts of attempted manslaughter, an 8-car pileup, and an unconsensual close-up of a beautiful woman's chest. Yes, it was on the necklace that she stole from the brothers, but you know that wasn't the intention. To continue the trend of this movie having hilarious extras, this random guy starts singing anti-Cooper propaganda and immediately experiences police brutality. I would have found it very hard to watch this movie with my theoretical child in 1993. They would have been exposed to some harsh truths. Mario, however, is a believer in free speech and doesn't agree with cancel culture, so he talked himself into the death penalty, hoping that it finally gets him away from the singing of this random hippie. Anyway, since Mario has been sentenced to death, much like the hit video game Super Mario Sunshine, the cops decide to commit more police brutality by speeding and making their passengers think they are about to die. This is all for the bit, however, since they want nothing more than to see Mario hang by his tool belt for his crimes against pipe-based infrastructure. This is when we get the absolute bombshell that Mario and Luigi's names are Mario Mario and Luigi Mario.
Name? Mario. Last name?
Mario.
What's your name?
Luigi.
Luigi Luigi?
No, Luigi Mario.
That was really bad.
Honestly, I don't really know what I was expecting. There is no aspect of this movie where anyone tried, so why would they do so here? But it's still just such a baffling decision to make that brings up so many questions. Not that any of them matter, since Mario's about to be served his last mushroom. Also, I'm not going to question this cop being massaged by a lady in a sexy outfit and high heels. If I had the option to work with a hot woman stepping on me at all times, I'd probably take it too. To add insult to injury, Mario and Luigi are exposed to shock therapy, tear gas, and waterboarding, because the agents working at this police department are actually interns from Sega who have been sent into deep cover to find out information on the upcoming Nintendo 64 so Sega can beat them out and win the console wars. However, Mario is too drunk to form a coherent thought, so he and Luigi are put in front of a firing squad, much like Suggestion from Disco Elysium every time he fails you. Upon entering the gates of heaven, St. Peter recognizes Mario and Luigi, and says, "Yo, I love those fucking games, man!" returning Mario and Luigi back to their hole-ridden bodies immediately. Seeing this act of a religious miracle, the gods consider converting to Christianity, but are too deeply in thought, so transfer Marge and Lenny to a holding cell for now. They're forced to listen to this Mohawk guy drone on and on until King Koopa invites them in for a meeting. He pitches to them a game called Mario Party 10, where King Koopa plays a huge part, being a fifth playable character, and despite thinking it's a bad idea, Mario and Luigi are too drunk to say no, so give him full creative control. King Koopa then realizes that he forgot to ask about the meteorite necklace, and gives Luigi a light reminder to not mess with him when he plays dumb. This scene is actually a reference to a deleted scene in Luigi's Mansion 3, where Bowser shows up as a ghost having died of a cocaine overdose in his sleep. And seeing Luigi still alive makes him so angry that he tries to gouge his eyes out again. The devs ultimately cut this because they realized that Bowser was more of a morphine kind of guy. We follow King Koopa for a bit as he re-enters his laboratory and sentences this poor minimum wage worker to be de-evolved. Yes, not devolved, de-evolved. It pisses me off too. A bad pun and some worse CGI later.
You later, alligator.
And bam, we have... What the fuck am I looking at? That's a Goomba? Dude, what were the writers smoking because I fucking need some? Koopa reveals that his main goal is to blow up and act like
I don't know nobody.
Then turn everybody into Goombas so they have smaller brains and are more loyal and easy to manipulate. This is a reference to the United States Republican Party. I mean the lizard from The Amazing Spider-Man. After a scene that makes me uncomfortable for an increasingly long amount of time for several reasons, including the weird way Koopa says Goomba, the sounds this Goomba makes and the looks they give each other, and this liquid on the floor looking like... it's not Coke, so... Anyway, the medical brothers kick ass and throw Koopa in the de-evolver. But it only devolves his... eye? Whatever man, sure. At least we get a funny line out of it.
I'll kill that plumber!
Back with Mario and Luigi, they're trying to escape from Koopa's building, and almost died to a bomb that was trying to talk about its evil exes. They zipline to an exit and then break the laws of physics Scooby-Doo style. During their great escape, Master Locke and Lugnut reveal a very important secret the movie was keeping from us. This was actually a Grand Theft Auto video game adaptation. This makes a lot more sense in my opinion and fits with the tone of the movie. We're only halfway through, but I'm glad we finally made it to the titular moment. Luigi immediately learns what all of these controls do, due to, and I quote, sitting on his butt and playing video games all day. Which is what I can only imagine is why Mark Wahlberg thinks he could have stopped 9/11, since even if he took out the terrorists, he would have had to figure out how to fly a plane. Mario and Luigi discover that propaganda is already being made and distributed to dehumanize them. Well, Mario does. Luigi takes a while to watch on with a stupid joke that I actually don't hate.
Aliens? Oh, we gotta deal with aliens too?
The best car chase since Saw 1 ensues, and Mario commits a little bit of trolling before referencing his favorite Star Wars movie.
Hey, this is driving!
Come on, Bob. Are you sure that's your pick? After this thrilling conclusion, the brothers slam headfirst into some cheese, which creates a cheese pull only rivaled by the most pretentious of TikTok chefs. One awkward cut that also struggles to portray the passage of time later, and we reunite with Iggy and Spike who join Koopa for a relaxing mud bath while sharing friendly insults.
Spike hasn't got a thought in his brain, sir.
He's a liar, sir.
But they sense the sexual tension in the room, and realize they aren't ready to go down that road again. Koopa makes a weird face and his lady friend goes to fetch Daisy, but not before foreshadowing a line from a franchise that would play a key part in her life in the future.
You have your mother's eyes.
Upon realizing that his already loyal subjects don't need to return to the primordial soup, he uses the evolution machine to actually evolve Iggy and Spike. But this just makes them British, and due to their increasing intelligence, woke. Aunt Petunia actually contributes to the plot by revealing that Cooper thinks Daisy is the only one who can open up a portal between worlds so he can attack Brooklyn. He then proceeds to practice his favourite bits from Seinfeld, which is a known mating call from the dinosaurs back in the prehistoric era. Daisy always preferred friends, so she's more focused on some strange noises coming from Cooper's weird dog.
Go ahead and say it. Dinosaur.
Yeah, whatever, Grandpa, and I'm a gorilla. He introduces this horse as Yoshi, even though it looks nothing like my goat and will never replace him in my heart. It's okay, Yosh. They might not see how perfect you are, but I do. Following this is a scene that contains actors who are starting a dialogue alright, and none of it is good.
The great Koopa.
That I am. Different.
I'm not even going to question that. After this, King Koopa kicks Yoshi, so now I want to see his blood spilled in the streets. It'll probably be healthier than the current sewer water that would make any Teenage Ninja Turtle absolutely ecstatic. Meanwhile, Mario and Luigi are practicing for the next season of Naked and Afraid. They're just struggling with the naked part because their pants are too tight and they can't take them off. Seriously though, why wasn't shirtless Luigi added to Mario Kart World? Come on, Nintendo. Despite their tight pants, they still earn their not tying badge at Scouts Club by restraining Iggy and Spike, who are smart now but still got caught. I don't know anymore, just go with it. Listerine figures out that Iggy and Spike like to be degraded, which is probably why they work for Koopa, and gives them the best PG roast session I've ever seen.
Where's Daisy, butt breath? Not until you give us Daisy, biscuit head!
Biscuit head is now fully ingrained into my language, and I will use it at any given opportunity. However, upon settling their differences and realizing that they have a lot in common, they start to discuss their favorite actors.
The Rock.
This alarms Mario, as he understands no sane person would ever list Dwayne the Pebble Johnson as one of their favorite actors. To cover their asses, Spike and Iggy explain that the meteorite necklace Daisy has is a missing piece of a 65 million year old meteor that killed the dinosaurs. Hey, wait a minute, why did Arnie lie to me?
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
And inserting this piece into the hall will make Koopa the ruler of both the real world and Dino Han. Why? I don't know. What, do you expect the movie to explain this? For what it's worth, I do actually want to shout out the performances of actors Richard Edson and Fisher Stevens. They both play these shit-eating goons in a pretty fun way, and I like their chemistry with each other. Especially in this scene, since they get to have actual dialogue instead of just kidnapping random American women and fighting their homoerotic fantasies for each other. I genuinely like that they start using more low-frequency words to indicate that they've been made smarter by the evolution machine. But their personalities are still pretty much the same, and their incompetence is still Team Rocket levels of fun. That being said, this exposition is extremely blatant, and I would say this goes for the rest of the movie, but it is finally trying to explain something here, and as expected, failing miserably. After an incredibly abrupt end to this scene, we get one of the worst establishing shots I've ever seen. Daisy and Yoshi are being kept in a cell, but what I don't understand is that they've somehow been transported from Dino Hatton to Mexico. Oh well, maybe Gus Fring will get involved, since King Koopa seems to be encroaching on his territory. I know I've been making jokes about Yoshi up until now, but I do genuinely really respect the work that went into making his movements feel real. He's been made up through a mix of puppetry and animatronics to control his face and mouth movements, and while in motion it might not seem so great, it's probably one of the best parts of the movie. Which, yeah, isn't a high bar to cross, but how can I get mad at good animatronics? If only there was another dinosaur-based movie that used high maintenance and complex machinery and puppet manipulation to bring them to life. Oh, what an idea. You know, I'll jot that down. Maybe it'll make for an excellent 7-part series spanning across 32 years one day. Immediately after this pretty good scene of isolation and bonding between Daisy and Yoshi, we return to the Drunk Brothers and their awful delivery.
To the city. Then what? First we get the rock, then we'll take you to Daisy in the tower.
Wait, did Mario just cock out that plunger like a gun? Is he just gonna cap King Koopa? Maybe that's the real secret. Mario works for the mob. Some kind of New York Don and his plumbing business is just a front for money laundering. Luigi is too passionate about it to be brought in on the secret, so he just stays in blissful ignorance while Mario's getting his hands dirty, keeping the Mushroom Kingdom clean, then he gets sent to dispose of the competition here in Dino Hatton. Honestly, that just sounds like it could be the plot of another Mario RPG game. Having sparked an unlikely alliance with Spike and Iggy, Mario and Luigi brutally suck a man's face, and pound him from behind. Wait. They use this opening to sneak into the most dangerous club since Hitman 3's Berlin mission, and dress like the two flamboyant cousins of Mr. Beige from Imagination Movers. If you understand that reference, I love you. Also, for a second we see this wanted poster with Mario and Luigi's faces on it, and it says that the reward for turning them in is 2,000 coupons, and I'm just curious if Dino Hatton has like actual coupons. Like, do you need to clarify whether you're talking about coupons the currency or coupons to save currency? This is dumb, whatever. The strong women of the club assert dominance over the weak-willed men, showing that this movie is bisexual propaganda, and Mario gets told to keep Big Bertha's name out of his fucking mouth. And man, I'm really realizing how poor the connective tissue of this movie is. It's a very well-known screenplay method that all of your scenes should include the conjunctions of but, because, or so. This is because either the previous actions are going to create an outcome that causes the next scene, or the presented conflict arises and it has to be dealt with. The biggest problem with a lot of movies is the writing instead using and then connections, which are very weak and do not structure a coherent story. So many of these scenes are connected through contrivances like Cooper and his crew being pretty incompetent, or just happening for the sake of the plot, even if it seems out of character. And I know it seems stupid for me to criticize the Super Mario Bros. Movie for not having consistent character writing, but please remember that the 9 writers of this movie wanted the script to be considered adult and gritty, so I will judge it as I do adult and gritty stories. Also, I like making fun of things. Mario picks up his wounded pride and continues to try and get the number of this absolute queen, and I'm pretty sure he agrees with me because as she grabs him fiercely by the shoulder, his eyes very much light up. I never thought I'd be jealous of a 40-something-year-old balding Italian plumber, but here we are. Mario takes Big Bertha's offer to dance and uses it as an opportunity to distract her and steal the necklace. Ah, men. Always playing with beautiful girls' hearts. I'm 6'5" with blue eyes and read feminist literature, by the way. Everybody Do the Dinosaur starts playing, and the Goombas all gather around because that's their favorite song, and they're hoping to get lucky tonight, thinking lizards also count as dinosaurs. But they are trying their best, so who can really hate them? Luigi pretends like he's ever watched an American football game in his life and starts tossing the necklace back and forth between him and Mario. But like, why? The Goombas aren't closing in on you, so it's not like they're about to grab it. And if they're blocking the exits, you're not gonna make it go anywhere else by just throwing it around inside this room. Oh, it was for this arbitrary scene of Aunt Petunia stepping on the necklace to build fake tension. Okay, movie. Never show me that again. The real MVP, Big Bertha, pulls Mario and Luigi into a small room and blocks the door for them, pulling Mario by the collar for a kiss and... Did he just say thanks? Dude, come on, Mario has no charisma, I swear. Anyway, the Goombas are in hot pursuit and... My god, these guys look so funny when they walk. Look at their legs, like they're on stilts. Luigi grabs a nearby ball, not knowing that it's actually a ball that makes you speak like a caveman.
Cops! Goombas! Daisy! The Rock!
Honestly, it's kind of funny that Mario and Luigi haven't shown any kind of skills throughout the movie when it comes to evading capture or fighting their pursuers. They kind of just keep getting out of sticky situations through goated side characters like Big Bertha, or just plain luck. Honestly, I don't even know if I could tell you any character traits that these two have. For being adaptations of some of the most famous video game characters in history, who have been pretty expressive when it comes to emotions and reactions in a lot of their games. I don't even know much about Luigi. He likes Daisy, and he's usually a bit of a slacker, but he hasn't really shown any laziness until he got to Dino Hatton. And Mario has just been there, I guess? His interactions with Bertha were funny though. Alongside all this, Koopa returns to his throne room, complete with retractable punching bag and or uvula? But he starts talking to it for some reason, and monologues like it's his mom. And honestly, his performance is giving Nick Cage in a movie where he really just wants to get his paycheck and leave. Like, the Wicker Man levels. That scene also lasted like 12 seconds, so I don't really see what the point was when we immediately cut back to the Plumber Brothers. Wait, did we really just cut away again? That was like 10 seconds that time, what? And we're back to Koopa in a completely different room now? For what it's worth, I do like the scene though. Koopa threatens a poor minimum wage worker with a gun through a TV screen as he orders fast food. And we cut again, what? Can this movie just stay with Koopa or Mario and Luigi for like a minute, please? It seems like I'm getting my wish because they finally infiltrate Koopa headquarters and are immediately like, Damn girl, you live like this? And considering it looks like the entire place is covered in chicken grease, it's fair. They trip an alarm because they start unscrewing some liquid nitrogen valves or something. They said they wanted to freeze things, but you could have just kept going. Now you've completely lost the element of surprise. Maybe Mario and Luigi are also drunk, not just the actors. It would add a darker twist to the driving scenes from earlier, that's for sure. But finally, the moment you've all been waiting for, the pinnacle of all reveals, Mario's feet! I mean, Mario and Luigi's iconic overalls and plumber outfits. Red and green are back, baby, and better than... never, honestly, they're kind of chopped. I think this entire set looks really funny. It reminds me of the old game shows I used to watch, like the Crystal Maze. Like, seeing normal humans here just doesn't look right at all. We find out here that Goombas are deaf, except they're definitely not because Koopa talked to them before. So they're just choosing not to hear Mario and Luigi here. Aang did this better anyway. And we finally catch up with our boys, Iggy and Spike. They were captured from the bar and taken to Koopa, who promptly gives them the kiss of death, and they're taken to be executed via firing squad. Unfortunately this time around, St. Paul had no idea who they were, and they were forced down to the elevator to World 8, Bowser's Castle, and have remained there ever since. Anyway, this scene teaches us that by this point all of the actors had given up on the movie.
You're right, Peace. I'm about to lose everything. We can talk about this later, if later even occurs.
And even with Aunt Petunia getting absolutely hot and heavy for him, Koopa is transfixed on killing Mario before his Don gets the satisfaction of doing it. Here we find out that Aunt Petunia has the necklace. So Mario and Luigi throwing it around earlier was for an even more stupid reason. They did not have to do that. What the hell movie? Luigi starts to feel the music in his soul and grinds on a nearby Goomba. What the hell is that? That is not a Goomba! Okay, I think this is meant to be a Koopa Troopa, but I also don't know if this is ever mentioned. As you can probably tell by now, this movie will just do shit and expect you to follow. Anyway, I don't know why this happens either, as it accomplishes literally nothing. So we cut to Daisy and Yoshi, who are also doing nothing. A friendly waiter walks in with their lunch, but forgets the Daisy order from the vegetarian menu. The defeated male leaves, but in apology plays a quick tune on his harmonica. Then Aunt Petunia, and I know I'm calling her Aunt Petunia because it's her actress, but I genuinely don't know this character's name, and frankly I'm not gonna look it up because it's funny. It turns out, however, her real name was Spy Team Fortress 2, and she tries to stab Daisy, who is so shocked by this that she forgets how to act.
Why are you doing this?
Yoshi and Daisy work together to break her free from Petunia's grip, and she runs away, leaving Yoshi to start getting freaky with Petunia's toes. Damn, what that tongue be doing, boy? Petunia isn't into that though, so she fucking stabs Yoshi through the neck, like the average London resident during a disagreement. I would like to reiterate that this is a Super Mario Bros. Movie. Back with Luigi, he's lost interest in the big booty Koopa Troopa he was grinding on, and has finally decided to do something. That being exiting the elevator through the top hatch. At the very least, his pheromones seem to have rubbed off on the Goombas and Koopa Troopers because they start dancing together centrally. Daisy, after running through these infinite hallways that are straight out of the Resident Evil movie sets, finally finds her waiter with the plate of cold, uncooked vegetables she ordered. But she's not hungry, so asks him for the check. The restaurant managers overhear this, however, and take time from restraining Spike and Iggy to incinerate this poor minimum wage Goomba who was only trying to do his job. The trio takes this as their opportunity to escape with Spike and Iggy, saying they've always been followers of Princess Daisy and close friends with her father, which is this egg sac thing that Koopa was talking to earlier. You probably have a lot of questions, such as how this egg sac fungus thing created Daisy, or how she isn't a direct clone of whatever human DNA is inside of it. Well, it turns out Daisy's father was just a normal dude until Koopa turned him into this. So all of that was done pre-fungusification or whatever. Spike and Iggy are just as mad as I am, so they leave the movie. Smart decision so far. Back with the Mario brothers, they come to a gap they need to cross. And Luigi has seen parkour videos on YouTube, so is fully ready to lose all of the skin off his elbows. Mario is too scared to see his brother throw his life away, so shuts his eyes, opening them to see Luigi flying through the air, telling Mario to jump so he'll fly too. But then we see that Luigi just attached himself to a hook, and is doing this to completely bait Mario into jumping to his death. What the fuck, Luigi? That is an awful thing to do, man. It's by complete luck that after another awful green screen fall, he hits a web that lifts him up far enough to get caught by Luigi. Let's be real here though, John Leguizamo is not strong enough to hold up Bob Hoskins. You cannot get me to believe that. Especially with the amount of alcohol these two were on being more than I've ever drunk in my entire life. Mario quickly forgives Luigi for immediately trying to get him killed for the vine. And we get into the awkward cut because this movie hates me. Look, I know I should have expected bad editing considering all the rewrites and reshoots this movie went through, but I didn't expect to be this personally affected by it. This movie is almost The Last Airbender levels of bad in the editing department. Back to Daisy, she starts to question the dripping thing while assuming her father is inside of it, I think? But Yoshi walks in with a fucking knife in his neck like it's nobody's business. Daisy, however, pulls it out, meaning Yoshi is going to bleed to death and it's all her fault, and the movie won't let me be happy and enjoy the little creature. Oh, he's fine. Okay, why not? Daisy picks up a nearby gun, which she uses to control the cameras. But it's also able to control the telephone? So that's why Cooper was threatening the minimum wage teenager earlier. But like, why is this the remote design? They decided to make it a fucking gun when any pointer would have worked? That's so extra that I almost respect it. Almost. She talks to Mario and Luigi over the comms. All the while, they are hanging on to each other for dear life because Luigi is a fucking dick. Then we get La Epic Gamer reference when Luigi picks up a mushroom. Yeah, that's the entire reference to the most iconic Mario power-up. Oh boy. Daisy and Luigi meet up and yay, we get to go home now. But no. Daisy wants to introduce Luigi to her father, which is a little weird considering they've only been on one date, but okay girl, you do you. Daisy explains that her father was turned into this, which I don't really get how she knows. Iggy and Spike didn't tell her and they bailed, and I don't think Yoshi was spitting secrets off screen. Spitting blood maybe after that stab wound though. None of this matters though because Mario dropped the most romantic line of all of fiction.
Daniela, I promise to take her to WrestleMania.
You mean?
Where is our Mario UFC game, Nintendo? Koopa finally arrives and drops an even better line.
Hi-ho, mammals!
Seriously, we should all just go back to 1993 lingo if it's calling people mammals and biscuit heads. Truly better insults than whatever Gen Alpha has been coming up with. He captures Luigi and Daisy. Then we cut to a small scene of Aunt Petunia getting arrested. That was pretty unnecessary. Like, not only was it pretty long and uneventful, but it doesn't amount to much in the movie. It's not like Attack of the Clones where they're all going to get strung up and prepared to die together. Our main man Mario is the focus for now though. He tries to be stealthy, remembering what Snake taught him when he met him in the last Super Smash Bros. Game. But he underestimates the power of intoxicated Brooklyn women. Honestly, these Goombas are in contention for some of the worst aim of any goon in movies. Like, they've missed every single flame blast, I swear, whether hitting one of their own or just plain missing easy targets. Mario is only swinging for a second, and any understanding of momentum will teach you exactly where he's going to end up afterwards. Mario starts to talk to these wonderful extras though, one of which clocks the unconscious Koopa Trooper. What a queen.
We're going for a little ride.
You know what? I'm not even going to say another awkward cut later this time. You know the cuts are awkward. It's this movie. It's a mess. Anyway, this cop guy is staring at his hand like the Venom symbiote is taking over, but he's just giving the meteorite necklace to Koopa, who shows zero emotion on his face. Luigi and Daisy are presented to Koopa, but in true Bowser fashion, he only has eyes for Mario for their dinner date. Mario, however, is preoccupied, currently on a tube slide with his newly met lady friends. Don't ask why this was here. The movie obviously doesn't answer that. Also, can I just say that I hate how this was shot? It is so disorientating in a really unnecessary way and doesn't add anything to the movie. I mean, this entire scene could be cut, but so could a lot of this. But it must suck to be some kid in 1993 watching the Super Mario movie with your pa, and then you'll find out abruptly that you have motion sickness and immediately regret eating that entire bucket of popcorn. Once again, the editing remains the worst thing about this scene, with a ton of cuts, one after another, in a way that is also jarring and hard to watch. I mean, it's kind of obvious this movie was completely cut apart and stitched together in the editing anyway. Finally, this full minute-and-a-half long scene ends with Mario and Co. breaking the laws of physics, which is nothing new for this movie, but I at least expected Dino Hatton to still have gravity laws, considering everyone is walking around like normal. Mario reunites with Luigi and Daisy, but wait a minute, weren't they captured by Cooper already? Did he just let them go to use as bait and followed them incredibly closely behind? No, the more this movie goes on, the more I keep asking questions that I know aren't going to be answered. I think every single Mario game has a more coherent plot than this movie. Even Mario teaches typing, which is also so much more engaging. Koopa finally loses his mind, which is surprising because I would have lost mine a long time ago. and in doing so completely ignores Mario putting a fucking bonsai bill into a jetpack shoe given to him by Big Bertha, firing it at Koopa and sending him off the rails into this conveniently placed tar pit. Mario and Luigi split up for the umpteenth fucking time because God forbid the Mario brothers ever be together for more than 5 minutes, and Luigi tells Mario to trust the fungus. This is because doing drugs is awesome and you should too. Disclaimer, this is an underwhelming attempt at humor done by a professional failure. Please do not take it as a serious endorsement of any legal and harmful substances. Stay clean. Mario decides to channel his inner Donkey Kong and swing towards Koopa, who is firing in random directions because he has forgotten what he was doing. There's a very weird cut to Aunt Petunia here who just kills a random person. Like, why did she do that? And why was the cut so quick? The real question though is why the fuck he made that noise. Mario fights Koopa with his trusty kick from Super Mario 64, which sends the necklace that he for some reason put in his mouth instead of anywhere else, flying down to the ground. Aunt Petunia jumps over a ledge to grab it and gets electrocuted. Oh my god! That's just disturbing! Like, holy shit, imagine how many kids this traumatized. Koopa didn't see where the necklace went, so assumes Mario has it and drops another banger of a line.
Give it to me. Rock, you monkey!
I'm going to use this one when any child in my family takes one of my possessions without asking. Luigi and Daisy run to catch Petunia and retrieve the necklace, with Mario's friends following because Luigi is a natural-born charisma dispenser, much like in the games. Upon trying to escape from Koopa, Mario is almost run over by a full sequence of cars that have skeletons on the hood. First of all, what the fuck? Second of all, why? Third of all, why haven't these been added to Mario Kart yet? Let me display the corpses of the races I have defeated, Nintendo. Thankfully, Mario remembers his disappearance no jutsu and vanishes without a trace. Seriously, he's just gone in between shots here, like no editing, nothing. So we have to see what Luigi and Daisy are doing. Oh, so they're just not really trying to stop Petunia. Okay then, take your time or whatever. Mario is backed into a corner, so he decides that if he's going out, he's taking everyone with him in a fiery explosion. That's right, Mario, the hit Italian plumber from the video game series that has become a household name, is currently threatening mass murder with a suicide bomb. Holy shit, Suicide Bomb is a kick-ass band name. Much better than Sex Bomb. I gotta call my agent, one sec. The bomb drops through a grate in the floor, however, and ends up surrounded by fungus. One could say Among Us the fungus. Okay, yeah, I forced that. Meanwhile, Luigi and Daisy kinda just stand around doing nothing, while Petunia puts the piece of resistance on the Craggle. This immediately turns her into a skeleton, which definitely gave several children nightmares, but would have made me want to go to Dino Hatton and do the same thing. Skeletons are rad, dude. I don't know. I think Spy Kids irreversibly changed my brain chemistry as a kid and made me want to remove my flesh and muscles and just hit the funny bones. Sadly, I am flesh and blood, however, and even more sadly, this movie hasn't ended yet. Petunia starts pogging because her plan succeeded. Daisy realizes she should be able to withstand the electrical pulse for reasons, and also assumes that Luigi can as long as he's holding onto her. I don't know about that, Chief, but if I were Luigi, I'd probably also risk it. Holding a girl's hand is worth risking turning into a skeleton at any point. As they try to pull the stone from the bigger stone, Mario and Koopa realize it's too late. Thanos has already snapped his fingers and they are fading from existence. Koopa, of course, decides to call Mario a Slayer as a parting gift.
You filthy man!
Very Incineroar of you. Luigi pulls a plumber tool that I have never seen before out of his ass because he hasn't been useful for most of the movie and so has to contribute to the plot now. The effects of Dino Hatton are already impacting the real world and we see
No. Wait. Wait.
I know I've said a lot in this video, but I truly mean it when I ask, what the fuck? Like, I know this movie was pre-9/11, but this is either the world's craziest coincidence or one of the 9 writers of this movie is a Yasuhiro Hagakure level clairvoyant and has been hiding it from all of us. Mario and Koopa are transported to Brooklyn, where they stand upon the hill dreaming of all the battles won. But fate had left their scars upon their face, so Koopa decides there's more damage to be done, with no hesitance firing at Mario but missing and turning an innocent bystander into a monkey. I'm sure he was thankful for this, because he's finally achieved one of 2 purposes humans have, returning to monkey or evolving to crab. Anyway, this monkey in a pantsuit is adorable and I wish him the best in life. Bring back Pantsuit Monkey, Nintendo. Put him in Mario Kart over Diddy. He needs to be renamed anyway considering, Anyway, this random extra picks up this new chimp and my favorite character leaves the movie. Rest in peace to you, Pantsuchib. Koopa tries to shoot Mario, but he uses the power of bullshit no jutsu to increase the size of the mushroom Luigi gave to him, and use it as a shield and then a whip. I'm not even going to ask. Daisy and Luigi pull the thing out of the thing, and thankfully no one got pregnant. Everyone is transported back to Dino Hatton. And wow, this was a very short scene with low stakes. Mario's bomb has somehow still not exploded, and is rapidly approaching your location. You cannot run, it is too late. Luigi and Daisy run into a familiar face. The waiter Goomba. After being fired from his job, literally, he decided he wants to rebel against the CEO of his restaurant and take him down for not supporting workers' unions or universal healthcare. That's right, he says his name is Goomba Man, and he aspires to be a harmonica player, laying down a sick beat for the Goomba crew to start dancing to. Honestly, I don't hate this scene. They use a lot of things set up in earlier parts of the movie, like the Goombas dancing, even if that was incredibly stupid, and this current Goomba shouldn't know the effect that it has. The Bob-omb and Big Bertha coming back, my queen. A mixture of evolution guns and a Bob-omb exploding below him sends Koopa flying through the air and into the tar pit from earlier, but this time de-evolving into a lizard form, giving us what was clearly meant to be the true interpretation of Bowser's usual form. But come on, what the hell is this, man? It doesn't matter much anyway, because some more de-evolving and a pun from Mario sends Koopa through the early stages of being a dinosaur right back into the primordial sludge. Mario and Luigi fucking killed this man. What's funny is the entire city, including the Goombas, immediately start dancing and celebrating. Like, it's truly a Hitler dead moment. Especially since they waste no time before painting over his election statues. Koopa's death also somehow brings back Daisy's father. Nope, I said I'm not questioning anything else, I'm just going to live with it. Lance Henriksen, I hope you made a buttload of money from this movie, and I'm sorry you were ever in it. Luigi and Daisy are conflicted over what their ending will be, finally sharing a kiss. But Luigi realizes it's bros before hoes, and sticks with Mario over Daisy. Kidding, of course. Daisy says she wants to stay in Dino Hatton to figure out who she is. I'm still kind of curious about the whole egg thing, because like, as we saw there, the king was just a guy. So how was Daisy born from an egg if her parents were humans? Shit, I broke my no questioning rule. Oh well, time to repent. At the very least, this finale does give us confirmation that Yoshi survived being stabbed in the neck, and I think that's metal as hell. I hope he gets to suck all the toes he wants in Dino Hatton. Then we get this really funny shot of Luigi just fucking standing there. He's not even waving, he just has his hand up like he's asking a question in class. I'm genuinely curious if John Leguizamo forgot what he was meant to be doing in that scene or something. We cut to 3 weeks later. Daniela and Mario are healthy and happy. Clearly, he must have taken her to WrestleMania. And Luigi is sad about Daisy, but still moving on. A news report comes on TV talking about how the Mario brothers saved the kidnapped girls of the city, and even drops the title of the movie.
I'd call them the Super Mario Brothers.
Yes! This is how you know you're watching a good 90s movie. At this moment, the door rings and Ripley from Daisy, walks in, asking for the help of the Mario brothers in the vaguest, most sequel bait way possible. And yes, I do think it's both cute and hilarious that this train wreck of a movie thinks it can bait a sequel. Funnily enough, the reason it didn't get one is because Nintendo started to be more wary about who they license their properties to. Okay, so that was a lot. First off, I would like to compliment the set design of this movie. Obviously, the overall vibe of Dino Hatton is very weird, and meant to give an air of hostility and griminess. And that does come through in the movie. It's very distinct from Brooklyn itself, and there's also some cleanliness in parts mainly associated with King Koopa. And I gotta say, no matter what you think about the designs of the Goombas and Koopa Troopers, I have to respect the practical effects bringing them to life. They honestly work for me when it comes to the few Goombas that are kinda goofy and likable. And like I said before, Yoshi's animatronic is pretty damn solid. I do think the little guy is cute, although I wouldn't want to be around while he's doing what he does best. The movie definitely does kind of suffer with the fact that it came out in the same year as Jurassic Park, a movie with infinitely better dinosaur designs and effects. As cute as Yoshi is, anything from JP makes him look like a child science project. And yes, I know I'm comparing the Super Mario Bros. Movie to Jurassic Park, a movie I've gone on record calling perfect is a choice. But it's one I have to talk about to give context. That's pretty much all I can say about unironic positives though. Everything else about this movie is a mess. The casting doesn't really mesh well, and I wouldn't even say the characters bounce off of each other at all. Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo, while they got along on set, considering they were drinking buddies apparently, They don't really fit as brothers and are very clearly from different times. If the movie had themes about like siblings stepping up to become parents, kind of like Onward or the fucking Minecraft movie, then I can see it, but the vision just wasn't there for me. At the very least though, I can say that Richard Edson, Fisher Stevens, and Dennis Hopper were at least trying their best, even if they weren't really enjoying it and apparently improvising. Surprisingly, I thought Daisy's actress was the one with the worst line delivery, but that's most likely from poor vocal direction, which would make sense considering how blamed the directors were for this movie by the producers. The hostile environment on set definitely steps into the movie, and you can tell that things went too good in places. The effects have definitely aged poorly when it comes to CGI too, even if that does give us some amazing shots of Bob Hoskins falling in slow motion. The worst part of the movie has to be the story though. It's very much all over the place. They tried to create an adult Mario world with a dark and gritty story and themes, and kinda did with the kidnapping case that Mario and Luigi somehow end up investigating, but the lack of cohesion and consistency in the scenes is definitely annoying and frustrated me at times. Koopa's plans to capture the plumbers fail for the stupidest reasons. They escape due to contrivances and don't really use their abilities to their strengths at all. The meteorite plot felt like it came from a completely different movie, and it really didn't mesh with the Dino Hatton world they had, or even Koopa's crazy obsession with dinosaurs and evolution. The twist with Daisy's father also felt very forced and ultimately amounted to nothing. I mean, her being related to the meteor was the only thing that really needed to happen, and I have to say, her chemistry with Luigi is non-existent. I'm sorry man, she's not the one for you. It's an incredibly sloppy narrative that you can tell was written by 9 people because of the amount of characters and random out-of-place scenes it includes. I'm just curious what was left on the cutting room floor. The editing is also a very, very annoying part that has been grating on me over time. There's a lot of scenes with rapid cuts and sections missing and all kinds going on that it is really hard to follow and predict without getting a migraine. It's also crazy how poorly that shot of the Twin Towers aged. Jesus Christ. But yeah, most of this movie sucks. You know it, and I know it, but it is still an enjoyable one to watch. Through the batshit plot, the crazy effects, and the insane lines that are said, it's a whale of a time with some pizza and drinks, even if I don't drink. So, in the context of the series ranking video game adaptations, we're actually going to be giving out 2 scores. I think this is the best way to talk about how I feel about the movies, while still acknowledging their flaws or boons. One of these will be the critical score, reflecting how good I think the movie is, and the other will be the adaptation score, how it takes the source material and portrays it on the big screen, what it does well and what it does wrong. Starting with the critical score, I think I can't give this much higher than a 2.5 out of 10. There's so much wrong with this movie, and while a few parts are done right, I can't wholeheartedly rank it higher despite how fucking funny this movie is, and how much I have fun watching it. Between everything going wrong, it's pretty bad. That being said, it's not the worst thing in the world that I've watched. It keeps your attention, it's wacky, it's crazy, it takes risks, and it has an earnestness in the bad decisions that are just so entertaining, which is what earns it the half point. They do include some elements like the Goombas, Yoshi, Spike, Iggy. At the very least, they have characters and enemies by name that are from the Mario franchise, even if Dino Hatton is pulled out of someone's ass, which is really funny. And Mario and Luigi are at least wearing their, video game accurate outfits, which I can respect. I really don't understand the decision that they tried to make about not using those. That would have completely thrown the movie out of the window for me, honestly. On the adaptation score though, this might be surprising, but I do think it goes higher. I'd probably give a 3 out of 10 on the adaptation level. I think Bob Hoskins is a great pick to play Mario. He pulls off the outfit well. John Leguizamo isn't the best Luigi, but at least he wears the iconic green plumber outfit. The ruler they face is King Koopa, who kidnaps people and runs a mob with Goombas and Koopa Troopers, who are a lot less deadly than they seem. The Bonsai Bill and Bob-ombs are incorporated, and at the very least, this is a movie that uses concepts and items from the source material. Mario and Luigi also do fix pipes a few times, so they're a bit more consistent, I guess. That being said, the decision to use Spike and Iggy as characters instead of like Wario and Waluigi is still crazy to me, especially when they fit right into the characters. The designs of a lot of the animals don't match the characters, but their personalities, if you can call them that, do at least resemble the original. But those are my scores. There's nothing left to do but throw this movie up on the worst adaptations tier list and the worst adaptation movies tier list, both of which it has to be top dog because it has no competition right now, of course. Oopsie! I hope you enjoyed the first episode of the worst video game adaptations ever made. I definitely enjoyed making this. It's been a while since I started this project, but I'm excited to continue the series, and I hope I get to make even more of these. because there's a lot in the series that I'm partial to and would love to talk about. That being said, this has been the worst video game adaptations ever made. I'm CEO, and I'm signing off. Thank you for sticking around, and have fun.
To me.